Kingsmere, our beautiful UK-inspired town. We've been on quite the journey so far, developing several different types of districts, thinking about where we started to where we've become now. We've really come quite the way over a substantial period of time, actually. But Kingsmere is growing, and it's quite a big place now, and we're getting on those vibes that we're becoming a rather large city, and we need to make some adjustments to our downtown sort of area, our city centre, as you can see below, Kingsgate, where we've got a few larger buildings which do look very nice. I like what we did, we worked with what we had, but we've got a few more assets now which I'd like to change the city centre a little bit, just with a few building tweaks and stuff like that. Maybe pop down the cathedral and make a start on some sort of a road layout for that area. So that's the focus on today's video in Kingsmere. We're going to focus on redeveloping downtown. So this is our current kind of city centre downtown area. I like to call it the financial district, and it's called Kingsgate, as you can see down here in this very small little wording there somewhere. It looks quite nice, I quite like it. Some similar sort of theme with these beautiful buildings from PDX mods, and then some from the skyscrapers pack as well, which are great. But I think it's time to maybe push the boat out a little bit and just change it up, use a few new assets and kind of spice it up a little bit and just see what we end up with, really. But first things that we need to do is, you may notice that all of these districts don't actually cover around the outskirts, so I might push Kingsgate out just to kind of cover the inside of this railway line area, because I feel a bit sad that it's kind of just kind of left on its own without being part of a district. It's just an unnamed area, so we're going to change it, just branch it out so it covers all of this all the way around to here, and then our Kingsgate district will be a little bit bigger, which is awesome. For those of you that missed the original video of me building this, you won't know that this bridge here, which by the way gives a fantastic view if you were to walk along it, is going to lead to the St. Paul's Cathedral over here. So if I find that and just show you, so you have somewhat of an idea, if I can find it. Where are you, Paulie? I can't find St. Paul's Cathedral. Let me have a little search for it. If I just go, it's probably somewhere really obvious. Cathedral? What's going on? Okay, alright. Okay, we've got the interior. That is perfect. That's exactly what I was after. So as you can see, this is going to look absolutely beautiful at this part of the city. Joking. Turns out I scrolled right past it. I know a lot of you probably saw that, but I didn't, so it's what it is. But essentially, I wanted St. Paul's Cathedral to be kind of here, so that when you're coming out over the bridge like this, walking, you're like, oh my god, look at that, St. Paul's Cathedral, oh my god, what a lovely view, who designed this, he must be a legend. So that sort of vibe. And then kind of similar to London, my knowledge of London and St. Paul's Cathedral's area is not great, but my understanding is that around this particular building, there's not really any buildings that are taller than the dome and the spire itself, so I kind of want to keep that sort of vibe, some medium density, so that this is kind of, you'll always be able to see the sort of dome. I think that'd be quite a nice idea. Obviously you guys have mentioned in the comments, we will move the solar farm when we are locking in on building this area. But you get the idea, just to bring you up to speed. But first things first, let's start thinking about redesigning this area. We're not tearing it all down, we're just adding a few different buildings and going from there. So to give you an idea of what buildings we're going to look at potentially implementing, there are a few different varieties, but this is kind of the main key one, because if you look at that, that is a beautiful building. Look at that. Wow. Yes, very much, very nice. And I'm thinking, as we've developed the city so much, why don't we build something absolutely beautiful? Kind of like a brand new landmark, the tallest building in Kingsmere. It would be stunning, and it's quite a nice sort of setup as well for right by the river. So I think it'd be quite a decent sort of idea to have, and we can kind of make it into it's like offices. Down here you've got kind of shops and stuff down there, so it would kind of fit the theme if you ask me. So yeah, and then the next building we have here is this smaller building. Potentially look at using that because it's just kind of, it will fit the theme enough. It's not too overwhelming. This is a nice standard little office building, which is great. That would fit in nice and thin as well, so it can fit in those smaller spaces for us. This one as well, rather unique. It will kind of fit in a bit of a modern arty sort of vibes. Maybe it can fit down by our sculptures near the bridges, maybe over here. And if we need to fill in some gaps as well, we've got these lovely, this is a Starbucks one, right? But never in my life have I actually seen the Starbucks symbol. It's just not there for me, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but it's just not there. But regardless, the building looks really nice. So yeah, those are the buildings that we're going to try to implement. So we're going to have to create some room, because for the first one, this megalodon-y big old boy, I want it in this corner here. I want it in this corner, and ideally I want it facing this way, like that. Because let's just take a minute to look at it. I don't think that's too big. I think that's probably perfectly fine, and yeah, I think that's all right. But the problem that we are going to have is, well, space is going to be a big one. We're going to have to reroute all the roads. We're going to have to pick up a lot of the decorating. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of work to try and sort it out. So let's make some room. So I've got my big bulldozer. I'm going to smash up the place. Make plenty of room in downtown to try and, well, obviously make some space for us to redevelop. So I'm going to destroy a lot of this area and then go from there. It's like a zombie apocalypse down here. Citizens. Oh man, no wonder my PC is like giving up on life, struggling to make it through. I do wonder where all of these random people are actually going to go to now that I've taken away their homes or whatever they had. Sad times, eh? Oh my gosh, look at these as well. They must be doing the conga. I think they're doing the conga. That's it. Must be the conga. Nothing else. So this really is a tight fit. I'm not going to lie, it is very much a tight fit. We've had to upgrade this road to an avenue because the road connection has to face this way for it to function properly. It kind of fits. It is overlapping in a few parts, as expected, kind of. But at the end of the day, we have somewhat got a space for it. It's in there. It's quite large, isn't it? We need to try and figure out how we're gonna sort out our road connection now into here, because it looks like we're just gonna have to do a bit of a tighter bend and drop it into here potentially. But we can make it work. We can make it work. So we'll just make the space, and then we'll kind of go from there. I can't actually see anything because of all of the shadows, but let's try our best and grab this road. And if we want it nice and tight at the right sort of angle, we kind of want that. Okay, and we need to somehow hook that round into here, but as you can see, ça va mal. Okay, we're trying our best to make this work. As you can see, it looks very different at the moment. We've got a kind of grass area here which we'll put a few things in at some point. But this is kind of like a major shopping centre with restaurants and then large office buildings. Loads of jobs there available, which is pretty crazy. Absolutely loads of jobs there, but we're kind of just destroying a lot of things and then not really know what to do. I've tried to squeeze this building in the corner, which I think is probably okay. I don't think it can fit anywhere else because it'll be blocking the view of these buildings. So I think that corner is probably reasonable for it to be in. And then basically we just need to kind of like fill in this gap a little bit, which shouldn't be an issue. We'll just use the surfaces that we already have, like these, and then just make kind of a plaza sort of section, something like that for that little area, which we can add a few things in when we decide to detail a little bit. Same with over here, there's lots of little kind of gaps that need filling, but none that should be too problematic. So we can basically just pull most of these surfaces down and we should be able to fill in all of the gaps. So I'll do that and then we'll keep on moving. So I'd quite like to use this asset here, which is the MASP, because it's quite a unique looking asset and it would probably look quite, well, unique on the edge of our kind of waterfront here. One of those bizarre kind of arty style buildings that you don't really see too often. I think it'd be quite a nice sort of idea to have. So I reckon if we were to try and squeeze that somewhere in the middle, that it would allow us, probably about here, is as far as it's probably going to stretch. If we could have that there, yeah, looks about good. And I think if I change the surface area, we should be looking pretty nice. So I'm just working my way through our little, what was it called again? MASP building has been placed alongside the Riverside, which is good. We obviously just need to detail around here, which we will do at some point soon, hopefully. We've got a couple of gaps, one at the back here, one here. I would quite like to potentially replace these buildings, or alternatively, how would these fit here? So we could potentially see if we could squeeze these Starbucks in and maybe make it into like one building. Let's have a little look and see what happens. I mean, technically we might be able to make it work. However, it would also look very, very bizarre. We might even have to just angle it slightly, or maybe even pretend that they're not completely inside of each other like this. Maybe line that up with there. Maybe not. Maybe that's not going to work. Who would have guessed it? So let's get rid of that. We don't need that. And potentially, I think we'll maybe try to put those Starbucks style buildings in this gap here instead. I think that'll be a cooler idea. At least they'll actually fit in there, hopefully. So if we grab this bad boy, and then let's make him hug the corner, like that. Have that one here. We'll just have to do a slightly little move it, like that. That's nice. That's a nice little building. It's slightly more modern as well than the other one. What are you guys just doing? Just standing? Oh, they're looking at our new building and the sculptures, of course. Our nice art sort of district. Fantastic. You enjoy that view. You enjoy that view. But yeah, that looks okay. Granted that there is this rear, but you can't really see it. I think that's a nice little addition, which is good. Okay, so we've just got kind of a couple more gaps to fill in, and then obviously trying to detail up if we can. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of buildings to fill these gaps in. These are technically EU medium density housing, as you can see, and they kind of fit there, they kind of don't. But I mean, there's not really much else that we can fit in this gap, I'm not gonna lie. I've also put them out the back here to fill in this space because, quite frankly, we need some more people living here. And at the moment, there's just not many people living there. In the city, we need more people to live here and work and stuff. So, alternatively, I might have to look through the assets to see if I can find a vanilla, potentially, building which will hold similar people, similar sort of size. So I might do that. I might have a quick browse through and see what we can find that could potentially fit. So I found a different building which I think might actually fit. So we're going to get rid of these ones and we're going to go and pick this one, which is an EU residential building, and we're just going to kind of slap that right in here. It's quite a tall building, but it's not too tall. It's relatively decent sort of size. It's nothing too special, to be honest with you. It's just kind of, you could almost make this a double building. Look at that. You can basically make that a double, and that'll fill in the gap pretty much perfectly. That's not a bad job, to be honest. I wasn't anticipating doing that, but you can't really tell that's a double either. And nobody's going to be looking really close up over here either. I think we might get away with that, you know. And that would work pretty well because it's got loads of households. Absolutely tons of them. So I might actually keep that as a double. And it kind of looks quite cool because it stands slightly above the rest of the buildings as well, and it's perfectly kind of positioned within that gap so you can get a decent sort of view of it, and it's quite nice that that's a residential high-rise as an alternative to all of these offices. So maybe we'll run with that. We'll run with that for the time being. We'll stick with that. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of work on all of these fences and things because it is a little bit of chaos. It looks like most of them are actually just going to spawn back, so we might just have to cry ourselves to sleep and ignore that this has ever happened. But what we can do is move these to fill out the gaps, which is good, which makes it feel a little bit more alive down here. See if we could potentially slip in a small little bit of parking. Not really. Maybe these ones. Is there a 4? No. 2x3? No, maybe we'll just go with the 3x1 and just whack them kind of along the corner, and then we'll just put like a small bike shed as well for the residents, and maybe just a small one like that as well, just to fill in those gaps ever so slightly. Oh, there's a bike shed right there. Whoopsie. But sorry. Anyway, that's looking pretty good. It definitely looks more built up now than it did before. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of you. We are making progress, it seems. I just don't know about this. I might see if there's any medium density that will potentially fit in there. So let's look at mid-rise. So the only ones that we really have are these ones, but they fit pretty well. However, Are they right for this area? I don't know. And all the mixed are kind of not that great. 5x5, they're not really going to fit. Should we try and... We'll just pick one of these and move it out of the way so we can just pick her it after, in case we want it back. But let's grab that. Let's pick the big old boys again. So we've got a choice of this one. Got a choice of that one. We did that one. We'd probably be left with a little bit more room. How does that look is the question. Is it way too out of place? It's not that out of place. It's not horrendous. It just kind of looks like a hotel, really. More than anything. Looks like a beachfront, waterfront hotel. Oh my god, look at all the people. Oh, my statues have died apparently. That's not too bad. Can we potentially make this one thick building? I think we're pushing it a bit with that one. I think we're pushing it. Not gonna happen. So we kind of need something for the rear of that. Which I don't really think that we've got. I mean, that could go in there. That kind of works. That kind of just looks like one complex now rather than some weird... Yeah, tricky one. It's tricky with a limited amount of buildings because you can't really pick and choose too much what you kind of want. But I'm of the opinion that we can make this happen. We definitely need to get rid of these trees that despawn all the time. There's that random tree in there. So I'm thinking if we can grab some of these surfaces, we could actually make this feasible. What a mess. We want that to kind of come out here. And then we'll probably see if we can grab that corner bit here. See if we can make this a little pathway through to the road. Which we can, to be fair. Not really sure what's going on here other than just a little bit of chaos. I don't actually know what's happening there at all. Oh. Oh dear. What have we done there? Come on. Come on. There we go. That'll do. And then we can squeeze that back into here. Cover that off. Have some pretend paths to make it look like it's all big one happy family. Yes. It will work. It will work. I want this tile surface because I want to make a connection between these. Something like that will probably do. I wonder if we can just drag that across to here as well. Like that. Well, clearly not like that. That's a disaster. But you get the idea. Why is this now deciding that it's going to ruin my life when I'm trying to do it very, very nicely? Oh man, right. Whatever, we'll be alright. Just do this. This is hard work, you know. Very fiddly. Very fiddly. But we've got it in there in the end. Good. So there's a little bit of paths between them, which is good. Oh, I don't know if I like it or not. I mean, it's fine, isn't it? People actually live in there. 17 people. Whoa. Business is booming in downtown, people. 17 new people. Don't you know it? We'll get rid of that. And hopefully things should start happening. Hopefully. Okay, so we've made some adjustments. As you can see, it looks pretty nice now, actually. It looks rather taller than before. Looks more built up. It's kind of in preparation for us when we build this side as well. So it kind of, that really feels like the financial big tall building district. Kind of like we've invested a lot of money into it. That's the kind of idea that I'm going with. You'll see that there's a few bits of detailing going on here, such as benches, stuff like that, tables, food, stuff like that underneath there, and then a few pathways in this green area as well, which is cool. Again, a few more benches, and then down over on this end we've added some more parking, bike parking, and this is actually a very small ambulance station just to provide a local service. You can't really see that unless you're really looking for it. Oh, we're inside the building. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'd say that's a nice change. We need a name for our new tallest tower. We need it to be Kingsmere themed. So somebody in the comments below, tell me some lore behind this tower, what it represents, what the name should be. Obviously it's the tallest building in Kingsmere, so it's quite an important one. So let me know what your thoughts are for that, because I'd be very interested to know. But nevertheless, I think this is actually looking quite good now. I think this is alright. I was a bit concerned at the start, but I think it's giving us good enough sort of vibes over here. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So I'm going to start just over on this edge of the river over here. Just putting it out there, we're not going to be finishing this part of the world in today's video, because it's going to be a rather large process on getting this looking quite right and nice. So just bear that in mind. We're just going to be kind of messing with a few ideas to see how we want this to look. So that's kind of the idea to begin with. So we're just going to start maybe setting up the Riverside, and then once we've done the Riverside we'll kind of work our way out from there. So let's create some nice space for us anyway, just give us a clear working environment. This is obviously me taking away way too many trees I don't really need to take away, but we're here now and we're doing it, so let's embrace it. So future ideas, welcome to my brain. As you can see, I've branched a little train line out. Once we move this, I'm thinking we could have a nice connection into some sort of nice large train station, which potentially links into this line, can go down here in the future, over here, out of town that way. And it's nice seamless connection as well, potentially walkway across here or similar. Yeah, but this is kind of like the modern side. This will probably be like the more traditional sort of side to it, with a bit of a modern twang to it. So we'll work our way through and see what we end up with. So on this side we're going to go with wide pedestrian quays only. We're not going to have the cycle route. So we're going to try and start off by having it somewhat nice and straight and flat underneath here, as you can see. And then we'll just kind of try and continue that. Oh, I've lost all of the snapping, probably because I turned it off at some point. But then we'll try to bring that round to follow the coastline, just like that. And if we can, we would love to wrap it underneath here, but we don't. Yeah, that'll do, because that's plus 0%, and that should hopefully go under there relatively nicely. It does, which is good. And we kind of want to do the same on this side, just kind of see where we end up with it all. That's pretty decent. That's -2, so we'll do that, and then we'll consider dropping it underneath here as well, which, just looking for that gradient change. I saw a 0. There's a 0 in my basket. So just initially, I think that would be quite cool to have a nice little normal key on that side. As you can see, doesn't look too shabby. Looking at this as it is, I'm wondering if we could kind of like double up the key. Sounds pretty crazy, but we are crazy, so is what it is. So I'm thinking potentially if we were to drag this height all the way up right against our current key as it is, could we then put kind of another one nearly kind of on top of it in a way, so that it's kind of double? It's not, I don't think it's too, yeah, it's probably not high enough, is it, to be able to do that? But we could try it. Let's say, for example, we did it. We'd have to get rid of all the snapping, because I don't think that's high enough, actually. And like that, it goes all the way to the ground anyway, so we'd have to do it an alternative method. Potentially just using a wide path and putting a key on the side of it. Will that do it? I think that'll do it. But again, it just doesn't seem high enough at the moment, does it really? To be able to be going through all of that effort. Let me think. My thought process is, if we raise all of this ground slightly higher, I don't think we're going to have too many problems with kind of putting that idea to the test. Whether it is actually worth our time at all, I'd probably say no. But because it's me and I like to cause myself a lot of problems, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. I'm just going to do it. So for the time being, I'm just going to raise this ground. I'm going to do it all the way around here, just to cause as many problems for myself as humanly possible. All the way along there. And we'll just do it up to about there for now, as a kind of starting point for our problems. Now, in theory, this should hopefully now work. So if we got nice and tight, probably as tight as humanly possible, which would be about there. I mean, it's really not much of a difference now at all, if we're being honest with ourselves. It's really not made much of a difference. It's almost like it's dropped down a little bit unnecessarily. But we could just do it anyway. And just kind of see where we end up. You never know, it might look pretty cool in the end. Don't knock it until you try it. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do at the end here, actually. I didn't think about that. We want to see if we can raise this node. to object height here. No. Stop. Where are you, little node? There's just a tiny weeny one in there that we need. That one doesn't seem to want to play ball. Maybe it's this one. I mean, it does raise it, but it's still slightly wrong, isn't it? I mean, maybe if we just raise that one as well, it might. I mean, it does do it, doesn't it? There we go. Do we want this? I think it looks quite cool. I think we should stick with it for now. I think we should. We've come up with the idea. We might as well just crack on and see what happens. We're going to have to switch sides of that though. And let's just crack on with this. Thankfully, this part is somewhat straight, so it shouldn't be too problematic for us. Nice. Just a slight curve here. It's about there. I think that looks quite cool, actually. I approve of that design. Well done, Mr. Nebman. You're so clever. Not really. Anyway, can we now? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Obviously, that's that high. Can we just flatten that? We can flatten that and then make it look normal again. God, we're living the dream, aren't we? We are engineers this... What is it? This afternoon, we are engineers. Perfect. I don't know how we've ended up back where we were, but sometimes in life, you just win without knowing. But yeah, you get the kind of idea of what we kind of want from this key. So that's cool. That's a cool start. That actually makes that side look pretty unique already, which is fantastic to see. Really fantastic to see. The next kind of query that I do have is, do we want to spin a little drop down into here, or do we just leave that as it is? I think probably for now we should probably leave it as it is. I might put down St. Paul's and then kind of plan around it. I think that's probably somewhat of a wise idea. So let's whack that in there, and we want to try and somewhat line it up. Oh, we're close, aren't we? We're very close. Very close. Oh. That looks pretty in the middle. That's probably as in the middle as you're going to get for there, I would say. It's probably as good as you're going to get. So we'll gracefully accept, oh gosh, that position that it's in. Now, I would love St. Paul's Cathedral to have some sort of like a large park around it. This all looks very ridiculous at the moment, as you can probably tell. But, you know, the idea is there that we make something quite nice. Because it is a very important building in history. It is very important. And it is going to be quite the centerpiece of the city. So I want it to look quite good. So we're just going to kind of make this into like somewhat paths. Kind of similar to what's already here. We're essentially just going to try and make this all right. Basically, just look pretty cool. We're going to use the same surface as is already used within it to hopefully allow these paths to blend in a little bit better. So that's why we're using these ones. And we're just going to try and maybe create somewhat a park sort of area. It's never going to be perfect, but we can always give it a go. But I also think, what if I get rid of that and we lay down the paths first with actual paths and just fill in the gaps? I think that would probably be easier for us in the long run, so that they're all kind of even sort of sizes. What's going on here then? Bit of an earthquake. Not ideal. Not ideal. Not ideal. But yeah, I'll lay down some paths, see what happens, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we'll use wide paths. That's a good idea. Well done, Ned, man. You're so intelligent. Right. Mission is a go. Good. Bang, bang. First path in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we've made a start on our rather unique paths, as you can see. They look pretty cool. They look all right, not bad. There's nothing really to them. They're just kind of random with a few kind of things within them. That makes no sense. You don't know what's going on in my brain, but I'm just saying words and you just nod your head and it's fine. I might do the good old-fashioned retaining wall on the paths, because I quite like the sort of effect that it gives. I think it's quite nice. So I'm gonna retaining wall basically all of these, obviously not the main paths, and I'm undecided at the moment on whether we are going to keep the road around, like the circle / oval road, whether we're going to keep that as a pedestrian road or whether we're going to open that up to traffic, given probably how busy this area is going to become. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I'm going to do all of this with all of these, and hopefully that'll start to look quite cool as well, giving it a different sort of vibe. I actually didn't plan to put a park here, I'm not going to lie. But my brain has just gone off on one, and now we're doing a park. That's just how it is. That's just how the world works. So, yeah, welcome to my channel of pure chaos. I've added a few grass decals, as you can see, within this area. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to quickly just run some of this over to this, because I'm bored of looking at that symbol telling me that I'm not good enough. Just do the same here, just a simple connection for the time being so that we have no warnings on it. That looks pretty cool already. That's going to be a cool little park. We will obviously decorate this with some trees or similar. Yeah, but I'm not going to go all out on trees because I always get told off for doing that. I think that's a reasonable amount of trees. I don't think I've gone too overboard. Do you agree? I hope you agree, otherwise I'm going to get it in the comments. But I think that's pretty cool. That's certainly a great sort of centerpiece for what we're going to prepare in the future down here. So that's really exciting. That is great news. But obviously we need to plan out exactly what we want doing, because there is so much to do and plan for this area. But that is one hell of a start. It looks fantastic. Really nice. Oh, we've got people working here and everything. Oh, should we make it pink? No, we don't need to make it pink. But already, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. But we just got to think about how we're going to build around this area. I think it's going to be... I think the main thing will be to bring these roads down to the quay, decorate the inside of this, and then we're not going to obstruct that view. I think that will probably be our best idea. Should we try it and see what happens? Because I'd hate to autosave obstruct that view. So if we just actually box it off pretty sharpish, we might actually be alright. This is a pedestrian road, but for some reason it's not hooking up to our quay, which is a bit sad. Because I would like that to hook up. Don't know why it does that. I'm assuming that's not going to work because we've got a big pillar in the way. Or are people just going to walk around the pillar like it doesn't exist? Give over, rat. Get a grip. Right, how are we going to actually hook these up is the question. Because I don't know. I'm no expert in... Don't worry, no expert in hooking up. Whatever. Oh, that was a nice design. What on earth? So that could probably go underneath there, couldn't it? And then just slot just in there. However. Oh yeah, that'll do. And then we can whack-a-mole in there. And probably whack-a-mole in... What do you think about there? A little bit too far? About there? A little bit too close for my liking. I mean, maybe it is the same. It's just the shadow that makes it look a little bit weird. Possibly. And I want to squeeze that under there, but I don't think it's going to go because of the positioning. Who knew it was so challenging to create paths? Not me. But we just kind of want a similar sort of vibe down here with our paths. And one dropping right into the centre, somewhat the centre of St. Paul's Gaff. St. Paul's Gaff, grow up. Grow up. Right, I'm going to mess around with this and see what we can end up with. Looking good. But I think we've... Oh, hello, building. What have we got here? Distraction. Sorry. What we've got over here is looking rather cool at the moment. You get a cracking view, as you can probably tell. Really nice view as you come on over, because you've got all of the parks, the nice tiled section. This pathway is nice and centered to the bridge, which is great, and it really kind of complements St. Paul's Cathedral over on this side of the river. And once we actually build around this is going to look absolutely stunning, unbelievable. I think it might end up being one of the nicest looking districts we've made. So, you know, we'll keep tapping away at it. Hopefully it looks pretty good in the end, but you never know. We shall see. Yeah, good. So let's have a little look. Down here we've added a few benches, some more statues, traditional St. Paul statues, as you can see. Down in this section between the bridges, we've got again this couple more statues and stuff like that, which all look really cool. I do like the way that this has all come about, and I think it's gonna look pretty fantastic once we're done with it. But yeah, it's going to be a long process, this one. A really long process building out this area, because obviously we've got to move the solar farm, transport, road connections, all that jazz. But for the time being, that is pretty fantastic. That is a good start to our expansion to the other side of the river autosave. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's all we got time for in today's video, so hopefully the next one will continue with St. Paul's area. But it looks really nice. I like the new downtown. It looks pretty fantastic. Great angles all around, so yeah, really happy with that. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm excited to continue it, but let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good night.